Why America lost the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was between North Vietnam and South Vietnam that started in 1955 and ended in 1975. This was also a war between America and Russia, and a war between communism and democracy. In this video, we will explain everything you need to know about the war. Before the World War II, Vietnam was ruled by France. But in 1940, Japan beat France and conquered Vietnam. In 1945, when the United States attacked Japan with a nuclear bomb, the World War has ended, and Japan surrendered to the United States and has withdrawn from Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh started a communist political party called Viet Minh and won the elections in Vietnam. After Japan withdrew from Vietnam, France came back to occupy Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh asked France to leave, but they decided not to. In 1950, a war started between France and Vietnam. In that war, China and Russia supported Vietnam, as the ruler of Vietnam was a communist. United States and United Kingdom supported France. The United States thought France would win the war, but in 1954, France lost to Vietnam and left the country. While leaving the country, they split Vietnam into two: North Vietnam and South Vietnam. In the 1956 elections, Ho Chi Minh won the North Vietnam elections, and Diem won the South Vietnam elections. Ho Chi Minh ruled the North Vietnam with communist policies, and Diem ruled South Vietnam with democratic policies. The main source of income for Vietnam is agriculture. In the North Vietnam, per Ho Chi Minh's rules, the farmer who farms the land will own the land. Hence, poor people could own the lands. But in the South Vietnam, Diem gave the lands to the rich people and asked them to pay taxes on the agricultural income from their lands. Poor people didn't like that policy in the South Vietnam and protested against the government. Ho Chi Minh took advantage of the situation in South Vietnam and gave money and weapons to the protesters, as he wanted to merge North and South Vietnam and rule the country with his communist policies. Hence a civil war had begun in Vietnam. When two groups of the same country engage in a war, it's called a civil war. Diem didn't try to attack North Vietnam. Instead, he was just trying to defend South Vietnam. But there were a lot of protesters in South Vietnam who support North Vietnam, and Diem didn't know how to get rid of those North Vietnam supporters in the South. In 1961, America started to support South Vietnam, as America was afraid that if a country falls in the hands of a communist, the countries surrounding that country might also fall in the hands of communists. America sent a lot of weapons, air support, and money to South Vietnam. Diem was very inefficient in his ruling. Hence the military of South Vietnam killed Diem and started to rule South Vietnam. The North Vietnam soldiers were doing very good in the war, but South Vietnam soldiers couldn't keep up with North Vietnam, despite the support from America. In the beginning, the American citizens supported America's involvement in the war, and America's president gave confident statements that they would win the war. The American soldiers trained South Vietnamese soldiers and sent them to the war, but the American soldiers didn't go to war directly. In 1964, North Vietnam attacked a USA aircraft carrier twice, near to North Vietnam, in torpedo boats. After this attack, America started to attack North Vietnam directly. They bombed North Vietnam with their fighter jets. The farmers in North Vietnam farmed their land during the day and worked as soldiers during the nights. In 1965, 3,500 American soldiers landed in Vietnam. But North Vietnam continued its attack on American air bases in South Vietnam, and South Vietnam soldiers couldn't defend those attacks. Therefore America had to send more soldiers to South Vietnam. South Vietnam received information that there were 200 North Vietnam soldiers at a place in South Vietnam. 450 American soldiers were prepared to attack them. So, they had to board the helicopter, and the helicopters must land at a particular place near to that area, which is suitable for landing. But only 8 helicopters could land at once, as the place was small. And only 6 soldiers can fit in a helicopter. The helicopters shall not fly higher than the height of a tree. If they fly high, North Vietnam soldiers would see them. Therefore, it took them 2 hours to transport all the 450 American soldiers to that place. But then, South Vietnam soldiers caught a North Vietnam soldier, and interrogated him. The North Vietnam soldier confessed that it's not 200 soldiers, it's 1,600 soldiers at that place. This means, 1,600 soldiers would attack 450 American soldiers, which would be very easy for the North Vietnam soldiers. The battle had begun, and North Vietnamese took out 85 American soldiers on the first day. And American soldiers were running out of ammunition. They had to request for the air support. The fighter jets arrived at the battlefield, and bombed the North Vietnam soldiers. In this battle, 800 North Vietnam soldiers died. The North Vietnam soldiers withdrew, and American soldiers won that battle. In 1966, America started a search and destroy operation. The goal is to search and destroy all the North Vietnam soldiers in South and kill them. At that time, there were 400,000 American soldiers in South Vietnam. 50,000 of them died. Therefore, American citizens didn't support the American involvement in the war anymore. In the beginning, 90% of the American citizens supported America's involvement in the war. By 1969, only 50% of the American citizens supported America's involvement in the war. Some students in America protested to bring back the American soldiers from Vietnam. The American cops killed 6 protesters to stop the protest. But it only led to the increase in protest. Therefore, the American president had to bring the American soldiers back. They left their weapons in South Vietnam for the South Vietnam soldiers to use. In 1973, America, North and South Vietnam have come to terms on a peace agreement. Per the agreement, the North Vietnam soldiers, who were in South Vietnam, can stay there, but the war must end. They shall not attack each other. America lost about $120 billion on this war for helping South Vietnam. As America withdrew its support, South Vietnam was very weak, and was in a very bad condition. In 1975, North Vietnam started to attack South Vietnam again, as South Vietnam Army was very weak. North Vietnam was occupying South Vietnam, and the confidence levels of the South Vietnam were going down drastically. Finally, North Vietnam conquered South Vietnam, united the nation, and the communists ruled the country. They say America lost the war, as they spent billions of dollars, and sacrificed the lives of thousands of soldiers. They failed to keep South Vietnam as an independent country. 58,000 American soldiers, 150,000 South Vietnam soldiers, and 150 South Vietnam people had died in the war. Thank you for watching this video. If you find this video interesting, please like the video and share it with your friends. For more interesting videos, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified every time we upload a new video.